Hello investors, I'm just Randy and I'm back with a video update on NanoX. I wanted to talk about the price action that took place on Monday. I also wanted to cover this Bloomberg interview that happened yesterday. So NanoX surges after X-ray device clears the hurdle. This was great news for investors, and I knew that there would be this sell-off after the price action. I just didn't expect it to happen so early. So about 70% up this was pre-market. Checked my phone at 4 a.m. in the morning like I think most people did, and I noticed it was surging incredibly high. Before the market even opened, the sell-off started happening. The CEO offloaded some shares, people took profits. I think it's normal. I wouldn't be concerned about this. I even expected it. I think I talked about it during my previous video. Then this past weekend, I did a video on some red flags and anticipation for the good news that was coming out. Probably wasn't the best timing because everyone was so hyped up on the news. Nobody wanted to hear about red flags. I just didn't want anyone chasing or buying at a premium price. So my advice to buy after FDA clearance, and I talked about that in my previous video. So the Bloomberg interview. Let's go through some of those questions. And as you can see on the left-hand side of my screen, this is just a capture of the interview that was done with the CEO. Here's the questions, and here's what I learned from it. Just to recap, the first question was, what's the path to commercialization for you now? The CEO's response, the equivalency to the GE machine, which I didn't realize, the predicate device was a GE machine. So for FDA clearance for the 510K, they didn't get approval. They got FDA clearance by using a predicate device, something that was already in the market. Now, the question I asked myself was, how is this much different technology any way similar to that current GE technology? And the only similarity that I could think of that allowed this 510K process to take place so they could get clearance by doing a comparison of something that was already in the market was just, it's an imaging system. So they used the GE machine as a comparison with the electron process on how the electrons take the image, and it had nothing to do the heating up and cooling down of the filament or those mechanical differences. So that's the only relation that I could make to say, how is this so much different, the technology? You were able to use a comparison of something that was already in the market. So in the interview, it talked about this GE machine, and he said that that was the equivalency that was used. So I thought that was something new that I didn't realize. Now, from here, he said next steps is to put a few of these in the Ray or the ARC, and that should not be a big deal, is what the CEO said. The second question that was asked is, where are you in the production process right now? The CEO's response, they did a live broadcast from Israel, and on their website, it actually has the NanoX at the annual NSA conference. You could take a look at this. Obviously, it has concept device for educational purposes only. The same photo, same hand, same photo, posted up on the pictures of the wall. A lot of people may have had problems with this live demonstration. He admitted that it went well, or said that it went well. And, the video looked sort of staged to some people. I didn't have concerns with the video myself, but you could see where there could have been concerns about the live broadcast. The next thing he said was that we have 3 locations where production is happening as we speak. The semiconductor technology is made in both Korea and Japan, and the tube itself is assembled in Korea. So there are 3 production locations. I would say number 1 is Israel, number 2 is Korea, and then Japan. The third question was, do you have the production capacity and funding to meet that demand? And he said, absolutely. We closed the last quarter with $213 million in the bank, no debt. And then he talked about the 3 investors, and you can fact check that this is dated from January 16, 2020. And I was able to find the article which talks about the 3 investors. Last one, which was Foxconn. The next question was, analysts like Oppenheimer say that you're one step closer to commercialization, but there are still important milestones that you have to overcome. What are those milestones? So, for those of you that aren't familiar with Oppenheimer, they're a financial asset management group, and you can check out their website. They've got 1,002 financial professionals as of December 31st, 2020, and 92 branch offices. So one of their analysts did an article which talked about they still have important milestones. And for anybody that's familiar with the process that the company needs to go through, they still have to do this next 510K on the multi-source and the cloud-based system to even release any of the units, the first 1,000 units. And they're supposed to get this approval by the end of the year and start shipping units in the first part of Q1 of 2022. So the CEO said, I agree to those milestones that need to be achieved. We are here for the long run. And I would say as a long-term investors, that's what you want to hear. You're here for the long run. Democratizing medical imaging globally is not going to be an easy task, and it's going to take some time. We committed to the market to ship 1,000 units by the end of Q1 2022, and he believes that they are very much equipped to do that. In order to do that, ship is what he's talking about, not only for the US market, but other countries. They need to get that clearance for the machine and multi-source device, and that's why I don't believe the price was sticking as people may have expected, and people were pushing for the price to continue to go up. People took profits, and we've got a whole 8 months before this next milestone is going to be accomplished, which will be the largest milestone that the company needs to exit. So they're expecting that to happen within this year, and I marked down here that it's 8 months until the end of the year, December. Could it happen sooner? If you look at the first FDA clearance last year, and then by the time they responded to the additional requests that the FDA needed, I mean, it just happened here in March, the end of March. So how long will it take to get this next round of multi-source and cloud-based clearance to happen? We'll have to wait and see. 90 days, absolutely safe to say, the CEO saying before the end of the year. Next question was, how do you combat negative press in this 120-year-old industry? And the CEO said he takes comfort in looking at companies such as Tesla, for example, and feels very confident in the way that he has focused all efforts in crushing allegations simply by delivering, for instance, NanoX in the annual NSA conference where they did the live broadcast, validating what they have, then the FDA clearance. And a lot of people said they wouldn't get the clearance. And then people talked about the facility, and they shared the announcement about the big investment in Korea. And then lastly, just reiterating in the interview that he chooses to stay focused on delivery and execution. So I don't believe, in summary, that these things should have to be pointed out before you answer back. It seems kind of reactive than proactive planning from my standpoint. So final thoughts. Will this price go below $40 again? It does have the potential to drop again. General market conditions could change. There's the tax changes that are potentially coming up to pay for the infrastructure bill. There's also the potential of a short-term change in president. I'm not asking for anything bad to happen, but the age of the president is concerning, and I could just see the market, not responding well if something was to happen to the president. 8 months is a long time for any expected 510K clearance, so be patient. I think this could go under $40, and with all that time left, patience is going to be key. Once this last FDA clearance is received, you will not have a chance, in my opinion, to get into this stock at the prices that you see now. That parabolic price run action pre-market that happened, I don't see it going back to normal. I think it's going to stick. The stock has a lot of potential if it gets that last clearance. So I just wanted to finish the video just by adding some tips, because there were some concerns that I had that people during pre-market got into this stock with not understanding that this wasn't the end of what they needed to accomplish before they could actually get revenue, before they had a final product. So I just wanted to put 10 tips down here, and I hope they help you. So I wanted to talk about price action. Never chase a stock that is running high. And what is high? 10% to 70% from the fear of missing out. You always want to buy low and sell high. Patience will win. There will always be another stock. Don't beat yourself up if you miss a dip. There will always be another dip. Stocks are constantly going up and down. So just something to consider. Be patient, wait. Don't be greedy. Decide when you're going to take profits. This is one way to grow your account. If it just sits stagnant and you never take profits, your account could grow a little bit slower. There's nothing wrong with buying companies that you're comfortable with just not touching, and you understand that it's going to continue to trend up. Set sell limits so you can minimize your losses. Have a strong conviction for the stocks you own. If you can't explain it to someone else why they should invest in the stock, then I wouldn't suggest buying it. Make sure you do your due diligence and try explaining it to someone else. See how that goes. Never invest money that you need immediately. Trading shouldn't feel like gambling. If you aren't winning, something isn't right. You can win. Fix your picker, so your picker might be off. Options are dangerous. I recommend having a guaranteed catalyst just to be safe. If you make a mistake, learn from it and set rules for yourself so it doesn't happen again. Always ask yourself, what are the risks? Does the company have a real product yet and revenue? Is the company profitable? Are they the market leader? Feel free to mention one of your trading tips in the comments below. And this is just Randy Stocks. I'll see you in the next video.